What's going on, everybody? This is Dave from Steel City Drones Flight Academy. I hope everybody's doing well and is safe. It's been a while since we actually did an update video. I wanted to apologize for that. We're right now in the process of getting all of our course content online, which is a huge undertaking. So that's kind of taken all of our time. But right now, I wanted to give you a really good video for everybody out there that's kind of walking the fence, not really wanting to know what to buy as far as a Matrice or a Mavic, that's kind of on the fence about what to do. So we came up with a really good idea to give you a very personalized demonstration of both aircraft and their capabilities, and go down to our local park, do a flying demonstration, compare different footage, and go over a lot of these type of things that are going to help answer a lot of the questions that you may have. So with that said, let's go down to the park and get started. We're going to start off with the Matrice line of equipment. There are three different models. There's a 200, which allows you to be able to put one camera on underneath the aircraft at one time. Then there's the 210, which we have right here, that allows you to be able to put two cameras on the aircraft at one time, and you can see them right here. On the 210 version, we can put a camera on the top of it. So you'll see on your screen right now what this looks like with the camera on the top for like bridge inspections, where it's things that we have to really get geared toward very high. Then there's a 210 RTK version that allow you to be able to use an industrial type of aircraft when you have to fly around a lot of high tension power lines, a lot of metal, high EMI type of things. That's really, really important, that we want to be able to have an aircraft that uses a commercial grade GPS sensor. The way that works, it has a ground station and it triangulates with the ground station, and that allows it not to use a compass for heading. So 99% of all drones, including the Mavic and even this model right here, uses a consumer grade GPS in the drone. No better than your cell phone, but it uses a compass for heading. But it can lead to a lot of problems where if you're, like, say, near a metal stamping plant, for example, it might not allow you to even be able to take off because you have magnetic errors. Or the worst type of situation is when you get in the air and you start having some problems along the line there. So let's talk about the rest of the aircraft. The aircraft is what's called water resistive. It has an IP43 rating on there. So it's water resistive up to a certain level. It's not waterproof, but it is water resistive. Now, there is a weak link in the aircraft, which we believe to be the weak link, which is the front air vent here. And we have what's called a rain shield that we can put on top of that air cover that allow us to be able to go ahead and really fly this in extreme weather. We have, you'll see on your screen, we have where we tested the rain shield in really a lot of heavy rain, where we flew this at full speed, and it really worked very well. Speaking of weather, this aircraft can fly in 5 degrees below zero or up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and really anything in between, it works really, really well. Another great feature for this aircraft is allows us to be able to have a second remote controller so that we could have a dedicated camera operator. And that's really, really great, because when you can have a dedicated camera operator working on all the camera operator duties for inspection, search and rescue, then the remote pilot can completely concentrate on what they need to do. And we highly recommend a two-person operation at the minimum for an aircraft like that. So that's what allows us to be able to have this. You can't do that with the Mavic, but you can have this with this as well. Another difference between the two aircraft is the batteries. The Matrice, all three versions take these big batteries, and it takes two on the aircraft to be able to run at one time. And you're going to get anywhere between 18 and 25 minutes of flight time, depending upon what kind of camera sensors or payload that you have on the aircraft and where you are in the country. Whether you're at sea level or in the mountains in Denver, it's going to add or subtract from that. But DJI has an advertising up to 38 minutes, and we have never seen anybody get more than 25 minutes of flight time, even with no camera sensors on the aircraft. So take that into consideration as well. Now, we also have some night options we can do here. These are what's called lume cubes, and on your screen you'll see what they look like at night. They are 1,500 lumens each. That gives us a really nice bright output that could be constant light, or they can be strobe lights. We can angle them down or have them any which way we want. We can control these also with an app through our smartphone on and off through Bluetooth up to about 50 feet. Next, let's talk about cameras and payloads. There's a wide variety of different options we can go with. Right here, we have a 30x optical zoom camera called the Z30. And here we have an XT2 thermal camera, which comes in two different resolutions, 336 or 640. And we're going to show you what some of these look like in the air and how to be able to use those too. But you can also get high resolution camera called the X5S for crime scene and accident reconstruction and mapping. We can put methane detectors on here. We can put a Z15 spotlight on here as well that can be all synced together. And another really good feature when you're using two cameras at one time like this is that they can be synchronized together. So when you're going to pan the cameras, they will pan both at the same rate and stay with the same orientation when you want to do picture-in-picture, which is very, very nice to have. We also have what's called AirSense. AirSense is technology that's built into this aircraft that will help us be alerted to when manned aircraft are nearby. So not all manned aircraft are going to have this technology on it because it's not a requirement, but we've been flying this aircraft for over 2.5 years, and we can say it picks up a lot of aircraft, which is very nice to have. And it'll show you not only the direction of the aircraft in relationship to where you are and your orientation, but it'll also show you the distance it is away from it. So it's a very great safety feature to have. The last thing we got to talk about is the transportation case. The stock case that comes with the aircraft kit is virtually useless because you can't put the majority of all the accessories needed for flight inside this case. Go Professional makes a great aftermarket case, which is essentially the industry standard. It allows you to be able to put in all of the essential aircraft accessories that you need for flight, from extra monitors, remote controllers, aircraft batteries, props, cameras, you name it. And it protects the aircraft really well, even if you had to put it on a plane. With that said, let's go ahead and get this aircraft up in the air. So one of the things about this I want to tell you is that how good this thing hovers and how good it is in the wind. We tested this in Florida up to 40-mile-an-hour winds, and it's really outstanding. I'm just going to get the aircraft a little further away so that you can hear me a little better through the microphone. But the wind performance on this is outstanding. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to show you and activate the strobe lights. So now, I think you can see the bottom strobe light pretty decently, and I'm just going to come back and bring it down a little closer so that you can see both the top and the bottom. So that's what the strobe looks like. You'll see where it says T, W, and R. So if you hit the T button, and it will go in really small finite adjustments. And if you hit W, it'll also go in as very small finite adjustments. And if you hit R, it'll go all the way out. Now, this also will go ahead and tap the zoom. So if I tap on, to say, the middle of that baseball field, now it zoomed in 3 times. I'm going to go ahead and tap again. Now it's 9 times. Now I'm going to go ahead and tap in on the middle of the infield. 27 times, there looks like there's some kind of a survey GPS system right in the middle of that infield. So right there, now if I want to go ahead and zoom all the way out real quick, all I got to do is hit the R button. And there we have it. So again, I'm going to go ahead this time, instead of me, I'm going to fly a little higher. That's only 133 feet high, so let me see if I can get a little higher and get a couple different perspectives on here. So I'm going to tap the zoom there. And there's looks like a little bit of where some pallets are. That's 27 times optical zoom. Then there's 30. So now I'm just going to continue going in. And right there is 150, there's 180 right there. That's as far as it will go. Now, for being zoomed in that much, that amount of movement that you're seeing on there is very, very normal. That's pretty locked in and very stable. Just to show you how far I'm locked in, I'm going to hit the R button. That's a long ways away. And that's doing a really, really good job. Now, so on the bottom of the screen, you'll see the XT2, so I can toggle between cameras here. So now that's my XT2 thermal camera, and I'll toggle back, now that's the Z30 camera. A few more features about this camera is in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see that little circle, and if you hit that, that'll turn on Quick Track. Now, I can draw a square around me, which you can see me now, and now I can basically fly around myself, and it will lock, that camera will stay locked in to me. Just like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the screen here, you're going to see, is I did a nice little thermal test with my son in the same area here, one during the daytime and one at nighttime. And I'm just going to show you how this looks with the different palette settings. So I'm going to show that to you now. So now I'm going to switch over back to the video camera. And I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and for XT2 we can do picture in picture. So it can be down here in the corner. It can also be split screen. And then now we could also overlay it where the thermal's right in the middle. And that's pretty popular as well. Another really important consideration to take into is line of sight and how far you can see these drones away from you on the ground. Obviously, we have two different size drones here, and with the Matrice, you're going to get a lot more line of sight capability compared to the Mavic 2. Many people aren't aware of that or take that into consideration. So we're going to do a nice little test for you to be able to show you now. We try to take every detail into account, so we want to make sure, because with different types of lenses, it can skew all that. So what we did was we have a 50mm lens on our camera, and that's equivalent to what your eyesight really is, the best equivalent. So like if I'm looking through a lens and then I look at it with my natural eyes unaided, they're going to look exactly the same. So right now you'll see on your screen, this is both aircraft at 300 feet away. Now we're at 500 feet away. And lastly, this is what 750 feet looks like. So as you can see, that can really help and aid a remote pilot for longer distances. And just to make sure that you understand, a lot of commercial flight operations, the remote pilot is going to be 500, 750, 1,000 feet away. That's not uncommon. So that has a huge advantage of this aircraft compared to the smaller Mavic. So let's talk about the Mavic now. The Mavic 2 Enterprise has two models. There's the zoom and the dual. The zoom is a zoom camera. It's up to 6 times zoom, 2 times optical zoom, and an additional 4 times digital zoom. And that digital zoom is really, really good. So if you don't need thermal, this is an ideal aircraft for you to have. The dual has the thermal camera on there. It has a regular RGB camera next to it, in addition to the thermal camera. Now, the thermal camera is a very low resolution camera, so you're not going to get quite the results at all that you're getting with the Matrice and the XT2 thermal camera. You do get what you pay for, but it is a good entry-level aircraft to be able to get into. Is the dual camera good enough for search and rescue? So it really is a lot of different opinions out there. And what I think the best thing to do is just to show you the differences. So I'm now going to show you what this aircraft looks like right here at this location today as we're flying it against the Matrice. So we're going to go ahead and do a side-by-side comparison to the best that we can. So what you're seeing on your screen right now is the dual thermal camera, and we're going to show it to you in a couple different varieties with different features. So moving on, let's talk about more accessories. We have here what's called the smart controller, where it has a built-in display into the remote controller, and it's absolutely fantastic. We highly recommend this. When we do all of our in-person training, we'll bring a couple of these, whether we're doing Mavic training or not, even with the Matrice, and we let our students use them, and everybody raves about how great this controller is. We'll bring it in different options. We'll bring it as a regular remote controller with just using your smartphone. We'll also have a Crystal Sky monitor available, which seems to be too heavy. This is the perfect blend and balance in our opinion, and on top of that, it can all go into one portable case. So you really can't go wrong with this. Now flight time, again, this is going to take one battery only. Flight time is going to be about 24 to 25 minutes, maybe 23 to 25 minutes, depending upon where in the country you are and what altitude. But you're going to get probably 24 minutes on average with this. So this is going to give you a lot. And then also with the Enterprise version batteries, these have built-in heaters in them that you can run this aircraft down to 0 degrees if you have to. So it is durable for the extreme temperatures that you may run into. This aircraft also has prop guards that you can buy for them, and you can see in our video here, this aircraft worked absolutely fabulous inside a house where we were inside no line of sight whatsoever. And if you want more information on the SWAT exercise, we have that as well on our YouTube channel. But this is a really great aircraft for SWAT applications. We would like to be able to have a little smaller of a footprint to be able to get in really small windows or areas if we have to, but nevertheless, it's still good. Let's now talk about the 3 accessories for this aircraft. And you'll see on the screen, we have a loudspeaker, we have a nighttime strobe light, and also a spotlight. And they can all be housed into the same case where it can hold all of your accessories. They're really good, they're outstanding. We're gonna go over now and show you a little bit about these accessories. This is what the loudspeaker sounds like.
If you can hear this message, please don't move. We have help on the way. If you can hear this message, we have help on the way. Please do not move.
And you can see right now, this is what the strobe light looks like at nighttime. And this is what the beacon looks like. So as you can see, this has a lot of great accessories that you can find useful. Now, a couple more things about this aircraft is it is not water resistive. So don't try to fly it in the rain. We had seen some people on Facebook try that and it didn't turn out too well for them. Likewise, in the wind, we get a lot of questions about what's this like in the wind. This is really good in the wind. 30-mile-an-hour winds shouldn't be a problem. We tested this in Florida and found this to be remarkably, really better than we thought it was going to be. So let's talk about display options. That's another really important consideration. So what we have here is a 7.85 ultra bright crystal sky monitor. This comes stock with the kit when you buy a 210 or a 210 RTK. If you want to use this with a 200, you have to purchase this as an additional cost. Now, when you want to use this monitor, please note that third-party apps cannot be loaded onto it. So if you want to use this for mapping applications, for example, like say drone deploy, you cannot load third-party apps onto here. So take that with consideration. So you'd have to use like an Android device and load that as third-party apps on there. You cannot use iPad with Pilot with Matrice. That combination is not working and it's not supported by DJI. You can use iPad with Go 4 with other different types of aircraft, but Pilot with Matrice with iPad is not a combination you can use. So make sure that you understand that. Now, with the Mavic, this is the smart controller, like I mentioned before. This also cannot load third-party apps on this either. So that's our equipment presentation. I hope we've been thorough enough to answer all of your questions. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. Also, we have 3 new great leasing programs that you might be interested in. You're going to save a lot of money compared to buying. So if you want more information on that, please feel to reach out to us and we'll be glad to help you. And we also have very good specialized training, comprehensive training, on-site training that we can go ahead and roll into those leasing options as well. So with that said, thanks for watching Until next time, stay safe and we'll talk to you soon.